people's lives. Yesterday's afternoon play was about a communications engineer who was kidnapped in Uzbekistan. Today's is a thriller set in the headquarters of the British company that employs him. Last Call by Mike Walker.
Hang on. Door opening. Lift going up. Ground floor.
No problem.
Door.
See Steve Jobs at Olympia then? Oh, he's a legend. Electronic paper. Amazing. It's got to happen.
Door opening. Lift going up.
Door. Hold the. Good morning, sir.
What's the matter? You don't like Mondays?
Oh, I love Mondays.
Door closing.
I love my job. It's the deal, isn't it? We really like being here.
So, did you see Steve Jobs on Saturday?
Nope. Well, actually, yeah, I streamed it. We should have been reading the kids a story, but...
Was he good?
Well, for a guy that old, he's brilliant. It's a lesson to us all in ICT. Innovation doesn't have to stop at 30.
Isn't that the company prayer?
4th floor. Doors opening. Lift
Right, so,
going up.
Yes, Tim.
Well, there's something big.
Yes?
Yeah, on the 7th floor. There's a message. If you could go up, they're waiting. In the chairman's. Great. Mr. Carpenter?
Well, I'd better. Was there a time I should go up?
Once you got in. I mean, as soon as you got your coat off, right?
Right, so, are you reading my emails, Tim?
Oh, right, yeah.
Good morning, Ali. Is he,
Please go in, Miss East. They're expecting you.
they?
Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Herrenvolk.
Oh, thank you.
Sarah, hi. Thanks for coming up. Coffee, tea?
No thank you, Gray.
Kevin?
No, not for me, thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Sit down, Sarah, please. So, Mozambique.
Well, it's really beginning to move. Our guy Ian Steele he should be there by Wednesday. It's going to take him a couple of days to orientate himself.
He's good, this guy?
I think so. I've spent time with him. Actually, he's a friend of my brother's, and he's very good at what he does. It isn't a big splash, but it's important for the next stage of our development in the country.
Absolutely. You're going out...
Flying out Thursday morning. Sally Ryan's coming. She's from Trade and Industry.
Oh, we've worked together.
And some journalists. Well, not just some. These are the important ones. They'll give us a good write-up in the places that count.
And then you're going on to South Africa to look at our operation there. Equally important. It'll be quite a trip for you.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate your confidence.
You deserve it. You've earned it. But, before you go, we have, as they say, a bit of a problem.
Yeah, a problem.
Now, your deputy downstairs,
Tim Howell.
he's across Mozambique.
Well, it's my project, Gray. I don't want to...
No, we understand that. Your thing. Absolutely.
Well, as long as that's understood.
Because I need you to concentrate on, just for a few days, that's all. Phil, this guy, he's an engineer. Phil Reese he was in Uzbekistan. You know the...
We have something in that part of the world.
Telecom contracts. Low level, but good for us.
He's gone missing.
Is it...
Jeez, Sarah, we don't know. It's the Wild West out there. Well, it's the Wild East, actually. I mean, it's just... tricky. Really tricky. And this poor guy, Mr. R... No, we don't yet. Well, as soon as we can. I don't know.
The likelihood is not that he's lying beside the hotel swimming pool forgetting to answer his mobile. Mr. Carpenter is quite correct. It's not a part of the world where inquiries are easily made. We have to tread carefully.
I can see.
As far as we know, his wife was receiving text messages, speech messages. Things seem to be going along fine. The job was progressing well. And then the messages stopped coming. Nothing. Okay, communication is never going to be easy with that part of the world. Uzbekistan is chaotic most of the time.
And the rest is anarchy.
We're trying to find Mr. Reese, but we need to keep a sense of proportion. You know, from everybody's point of view, but most of all the family. Philip's wife. I don't know, is it Phil or Philip? Find out, will you, Sarah? Issue a statement. We're just devastated for Mrs. Reese, and obviously doing everything we can do in a difficult... Well, I don't have to tell you. That's your job, and we're all frantic.
Not frantic. Ever.
Concerned.
Good. Concerned about Phil. But... Yeah. No, just finesse it for now.
You see, Miss East, in these situations... Let me walk you to the lift.
Yeah, we shouldn't. Yeah, we're on to that, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Sarah. Just clear everything with me, with Kevin. This guy's life is...
Sure. It must be awful for his wife.
I think with engineers and their families, they realise things get mixed up, but yes, awful.
Well, from our point of view, we need to project a confident stance. We need to be seen to be in charge. Not worried. Concerned, yes. Worried, never. We don't want to shout about this. People do go missing in these places. They do.
All the time. They turn up, we find them. Sometimes we talk to people, you see.
There might be negotiations.
We can't risk muddying the water. He's out of touch, but that doesn't mean he's missing.
Gray hasn't made any kind of public statement yet.
No.
And nothing from any other sources? The wife? His department head? Nothing?
Human resources will do everything they can for the wife. Don't worry. Leave the worrying to us. Above all, there must be no sense of panic, no feeling in the public mind or the press that we aren't fully in control of the situation. Is that clear?
I might need information from our people out there to field inquiries, if they come up.
If there's anything you can't answer, let us know. We'll deal with it. Reassurance, Sarah, that's your job. Keep them happy.
Doors closing.
Help me. Phil.
So, yep.
Can you handle the Mozambique stuff for a few days?
Yeah, no worries. It's all clear enough. Well, I don't want to trespass or anything.
No, that's fine. I've got him.
Well, if it's confidential.
No, I don't think so. Well, yes, but not in the office.
Yeah.
Well, someone is missing. One of our engineers, Phil Reese. I don't know if you know him. He was in Uzbekistan. Software of some kind. I don't know, whatever. But he's vanished and they're worried, obviously. So, I need research on Uzbekistan, what kind of place, prospects, you know the deal.
Is it serious?
Gray seemed worried, and the security guy Herrenvolk, I mean, he was there too.
Oh, that guy I don't like. Still, I guess he's efficient. You'd want him on your case if you had a case.
Well, he's on this one. I just have to get out something reassuring, nothing to worry about. Which is why we're telling you, out of the blue, that there's nothing to worry about.
So what are you worried about?
Hey, nothing.
No, but something...
I got a call. A text, just now.
Right. What? Michael Owen was calling? He's got a spare seat for the final?
No, in the lift. Help me. Phil. It's like he was just there in the lift, standing right beside me. I mean, this is the guy I was just talking about. He's gone missing, and this text appears out of... Very slightly, I met him one time with Ian Steele. I put them in touch because Phil had experience of working abroad. And it was like he was there, just for a moment. He was standing right next to me in the lift, like I could hear his voice saying, "Help me."
You replied?
Of course I did. But there was nothing else. No reply from him.
Look, if this guy goes missing, well, maybe he was taken or kidnapped or something. That happens, right? These places. And when they came for him, he might have just had time to text everyone on his list. Help me, slammed it out, total coverage. I mean, you might do that if they were coming along the corridor to get you and you couldn't see a way out. And texts don't always come through at once. We all know that in our business.
No, you're right. We should be calm. If we release a statement, those people who took him could read it, and if they have him, they could be looking at everything we say. We have to be subtle. I'll tell Gray about the text. What his wife must be going through.
So, okay, it's the kind of job you get if they give you PR and development.
Well, I wish it wasn't.
It's what you do, Sarah. It's what we do.
So, I'd better do it then.
But the so-called opposition is also accused of being involved. Some sources maintain the authorities
Yes?
orchestrated...
Are you watching, Sarah?
Yeah, I've got the report. Bloody hell, did you hear that?
Our fears
Did you...
for Europeans.
The guy is on fire, that's... I've been reading the research, it's a nightmare out
There are
there.
rumours that the burning...
I think we need to be in the office.
British
I was going to drop my kids off at school.
Now, Tim, as soon as you can make it.
Doors closing.
Good work. Good press release. Not that anything is good in this situation, but...
Did you hear it? The man? Burning this morning. What's happening out there, Gray?
We don't know. How could we know? It's virtually closed, that place. It's...
Was he British? God, what if it's our guy?
It isn't.
Do we know that for sure?
Yes. Yes, we do. We know that. It isn't our guy. We had word from some of our people who were working with him on the project. So, yeah. Anyway, not him.
So, how come you get to speak to them, Gray? I mean, with all respect, isn't that my job? I need that information if I'm
I
going to...
understand that, Sarah, but these weren't strictly our employees. More like freelance people, private contractors. They talk to me, they talk to Kevin, but they don't talk to anyone else. These are tough guys, Sarah, not geeks. But don't worry, I'll see you're kept informed.
So,
Sorry?
do you have anything solid? Negotiations or what? Or is it like the contractors and you have to keep it all...
Just keep a cap on it. Okay? That's our job here in Reading. Keep it calm, no panic. And really, it wasn't our guy, the burning man. Mr. Reese is out of touch.
Floor. Doors opening. Lift.
And we are doing everything we can to find him.
Exactly. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, I saw it. No, absolutely not. But we don't have it yet. We're doing everything.
Doors closing.
Yeah. Thank you, Gray. Yeah?
Miss East, I have a Richard Gordon for you. I think he's a journalist.
Hi, Sarah.
Yes.
Sarah East. Yeah, hi. We used to know each other, yeah?
Yes.
You are that Sarah, yeah? Lancaster?
Yes, of course. Richard, hi.
Hi.
You're,
Yeah, well, hacking away, lower reaches of radical journalism.
Right. Yeah, I've looked at crossing borders, obviously since we're interested
so you know where I work.
It's my job, Richard.
Right. Well, yeah. So, your company is in Africa?
We'll be setting up a junket for the press and MPs and... I don't know if your magazine is on it. Well, actually, I do, and you're not.
Not likely, given the way we feel about big companies.
We're not big. Well, we are, but we're also small. No, really. Gray Carpenter is concerned to stay reachable.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I'm sounding like a PR person.
You can convince me. Have lunch with me. London Street Bistro?
We are a bit busy here, Richard.
Go on, old time's sake. I mean, even a PR person has to have a life, or at least a lunch sometime.
When were you thinking of? I'm away from Thursday, but maybe when
Today? 3 hours' time? Come on. I've booked a table already. We could chat about Uzbekistan.
Thanks.
So, you've become the complete professional.
No, I don't think so.
Tipped for a place on the main board?
Oh, you make me sound awful. How do you know that?
Like you, Sarah, it's my job. Uzbekistan. Hell of a place to send someone.
Well, I don't think so. The company has a lot of experience of working in difficult situations.
It's top of the Foreign Office list of don't goes. It's lethal, Sarah, and that's on a good day. I wouldn't send my worst enemy there. Hell, I wouldn't send the SAS there. And you sent this guy, Phil Reese, a telecom engineer?
The company has guarantees in place. Of course they do.
There are no guarantees. What about the burning man?
It's not him.
You sure?
Richard, I'm here, he's there.
What was he doing?
He was putting in place a system to speed up connection times and help with billing.
Yes, that would be important in Uzbekistan. Billing, noted as they are for paying their bills promptly, through standing orders, or maybe trading in the odd yak or goat.
Well, don't ask me.
Why not, Sarah? You're the voice of the company, aren't you?
Well, the public voice, yes.
You issue statements which are sometimes economical with just about everything.
No.
Like your man, Philip Reese. He's over there working on some kind of spooky program.
We don't do that kind of work.
I don't believe you.
Where did you hear this? No coffee, thanks. I have to go. Thank you for lunch, Richard. It was nice to see you again.
I don't think his wife believes it either.
Have you been talking to her? Richard?
You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
There's no conspiracy.
Really?
Yeah, really. We've got civilian contractors in place and they're in control of the situation.
Civilian contractors in Uzbekistan? Well, it's not a load of navvies in yellow jackets, is it? Probably ex-CIA or Special Forces people.
He didn't believe you.
It's not that. He didn't believe that I believed it.
You know the mag he works for. It's what they do, conspiracy. They think everyone has a plan. I mean, when I was in the army...
You were in the army?
Well, not for a while, but we had a saying. I mean, everyone has a saying. No plan survives battle. We used to say no plan survives breakfast. Things go wrong. It isn't all one big conspiracy.
I just don't like the way he was. It just seemed like he talked to Mrs. Reese.
Yeah?
Yeah. Only he wouldn't admit anything. What if she's talking to him and giving out? I mean, she'd be worried sick. She wouldn't be thinking straight. If it made the dailies, I have to see her, find out what she's thinking, what she's feeling.
Maybe that's not such a good idea. I mean, intruding on private grief.
We don't know yet, Tim. She doesn't know. No one knows. Maybe she needs to talk. Really needs to.
Come in. This is the sitting room. It's the sitting room. You could sit down. I could make some tea.
Thank you. If it's no trouble.
It's a pot of tea. Leaves. I always use leaves. Well, not always.
Is there someone...
My sister's staying. She's doing some shopping. She thought she should... When you came, she should be here. I didn't want her here. I mean, well, I did, but I didn't.
I wanted to offer... I know it's not much, but these situations...
Oh, you know about them. Do you, Miss East?
No, I mean, we all feel...
Oh, really? Do you know what I feel?
Well, it's impossible. It must be. Everything that can be done, I'm sure.
What? Nothing. Nothing. Patrick, that's all. The only person who's been... He came round. I don't know a bloody thing. Not a word. I don't know where he is. I don't know where Phil is, and nobody will tell me. You just treat me like a... That man, that burning man on...
No, that isn't your husband. It isn't. We know. You should have been told. It isn't him.
You sent him out there. That's why he was there. Your bloody company wanted him there doing that stuff. I don't know where he is.
Hasn't anyone come to see you?
I told you, Patrick. Phil's supervisor. Pat McCall. He's done all he can. He's been here and on the phone. And the Foreign Office are doing what they can, so they say. And someone from the company personnel department came. They said, don't worry. See the doctor. Don't worry about money. Did Phil send any files home? Emails in the computer? I don't know. I told him to go away.
Did any reporters call at all? I have to ask you. I know that kind of thing can...
No. Somebody. But nobody. I didn't speak to anybody yet. Someone from some magazine. But I will. I'll speak to everyone.
I don't think that'll help right now, Carol. Really, I don't. I think the company, the people on the spot are doing everything they can. Everything to, well, try and get your husband back safely. Look, I'll make sure you're properly in touch, day or night, and anything else, everything else. I promise that... Who was it that came so I can make sure...
I don't know. He was South African.
I don't think we have...
Herrenvolk. I didn't like him. Get him to send someone else. Get them to do something. Please.
Yes?
HR, I've got Philip R's file here. This is Sarah East.
Yes, Miss East?
Actually, I've only got some of it, and I was wondering, could you send along the missing bits?
Could you hold on, Miss East?
Okay.
Hello? You've got it all.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, his last job, that seems to be well...
And that went upstairs, Miss East. I think they're handling everything from the 7th floor.
Oh, yes. Of course.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Thank you, no. Hi, Patrick McCall?
Yeah?
Yes, Villar, this thing.
Yeah, that's awful.
I need to prepare some statements. I hope it isn't any problem.
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand what you want, Miss East.
If you could fill me in a little about the job Philip was doing. In Uzbekistan?
No.
Sorry?
No.
Come on.
Chinese walls.
We work for the same company, Patrick. We're all worried about Philip.
Phil.
Yes.
No. It's procedure. Current contracts are confidential.
Do you believe that? Is that why he sent that text?
What text?
It said, help me, Phil. That's what it said.
Yeah, hello?
Richard, Sarah.
Oh, hi. Look, I'm sorry about the other day. I didn't mean to...
No, that's fine. It's just that, it might be interesting if we could meet again. Strictly off the record.
Okay, I'll meet you on Hayes and Harlington Station. On the Paddington-Reading line, 8:30 tonight?
It's not Secret Squirrel, Richard.
You've easily got time to make it.
Hey, Sarah. You came.
It is overcast in Vladivostok.
What?
Well, aren't you supposed to answer? But in Moscow, the sun is shining.
Okay.
So, this is all strictly off the record, not attributable. Not that there's anything to attribute.
So why are we here?
Nothing, really. Look, do you know what Villar was doing in Uzbekistan?
Look, this street goes two ways. If I tell you what I think I know, then it isn't going straight back to your people in Reading. I have to be sure of that.
It's between us.
And can I trust you?
When I was talking to Carol Rees, she said the personnel people had been around, that they hadn't been much use. They just asked what she'd heard from Phil, if he'd sent anything to his home computers, and then they cleared off. Only it wasn't personnel, it was Kevin Herrenvolk, the security guy at the company. Is that enough?
Well, it's certainly something. Okay. From what we've picked up, and this is strictly speculative, your man is, well, was, installing the software for a countrywide system to monitor all calls, all numbers and destinations, a sort of security umbrella that would collect information for the authorities in Uzbekistan. And then it'd probably be sent on to a second destination, a second country, for storing and processing, possibly the UK. And then they would send the juicy bits back to the original clients in encrypted form.
What? I mean, that's nuts, Richard. We wouldn't do that.
It's the world we live in. The governmental flavour of the moment, surveillance. The more complete, the better.
It would be too much trouble. A vast amount of work. We wouldn't get mixed up in that.
Just think about it. How has the world changed since the Cold War? You see, then we were spying on superpowers, nations, armies, fleets. Now, any guy with a rucksack and a mobile phone anywhere in the world can be your enemy. Now they look like anybody else because they are anybody else. That's how governments are thinking. Ours, the Americans, the Chinese, the Russians, presumably the ex-KGB thugs or warlords who run Uzbekistan. Terrorism really has become democratized. And they're scared.
No, we don't do that sort of thing. I mean, that isn't my job.
Oh.
Gray wouldn't do that. Well, it's England. It's Reading, for God's sakes. People don't do that.
Then what are we doing here? Okay, I could easily be wrong. It's a murky world. That's why it's secret. Find out what your guy was doing.
Is doing?
Well, if he's still alive.
Wow, Sarah, what on earth? Can I sit down?
Tim, yes, sure.
Well, yeah. What on earth are you doing here on the chugger? I thought you were strictly high-speed train girl, that woman.
I could ask you the same question.
Ealing Broadway. You know, seeing the printers about the Mozambique press pack. It's great, a real credit to you. How about you?
Seeing someone, that's all.
Or was this Microsoft poaching you away? Headhunters. Steve Jobs after you. All seems very clandestine.
Does it?
It's just I was trying to get hold of you and you vanished. From the face of the earth.
As people do.
Look, I know it's none of my business and you're the boss, but you don't want to go off on some kind of crusade.
What?
It's obviously been worrying you.
And it hasn't been worrying you?
Of course it has, but don't you think if they are negotiating for his release, then barging around making a fuss might be the very worst thing you can do?
Are you telling me something?
Just... no. Well, maybe. Some advice. Good advice. Just leave it alone.
I think I'm beginning to get just a little bit pissed off here.
Hey, really? No, please. It's easier to get obsessive about something when you haven't got anything else to take your mind off it. Like getting the kids to bed or clearing up the cat sick. I don't mean to be rude. I just don't want you to get caught in something.
I've got a cat. I clear up cat sick. Excuse me. Sorry to disturb you so late, Mrs. Reese.
Why? I'm not sleeping much. Would you?
No. Could I come in for a moment?
The personnel people called again. Someone different, thanks for that. Anyway. They said there are negotiations. People they're talking to. That they know where he is and they're doing everything they can to get him home. Damn the company! Sod you all, why did you... He said it'd be all right because he was working for the government. Well, he wasn't, was he? Oh, I want him back.
Did he... what he was doing... Did he think he'd be all right because the government was sponsoring him?
I don't know. It was the job. What he did. He installed systems, that's what he did. He was good at it. That's why he took on all the difficult... He was good at it.
Did he ever mention what it was he was doing?
Not really.
That it might have been dangerous because of what he was doing, or just where he was doing it?
I told you, we didn't talk about work. We've got a cottage in Devon. It's in pretty bad condition, but we're working on it. Rebuilding it, and... He's just an engineer. He does what he's asked to do. The government should have warned him.
I'm afraid we aren't in control of the Uzbek authorities.
No, not them. That's what he said. He said it would be all right because it was the government he was working for. Don't you understand?
Yeah, hello?
He was working for the government. That's what his wife says.
Sarah, how late do you people work?
This is strictly off the record and not to be used until I give you the say-so.
You sure about it?
No. That's what he told her. He'd be safe because he was working for the government. She's worried sick. She may be imagining things. She may not be.
Oh, okay, sorry. Is there any record you have that might confirm it?
Nobody's talking about anything here, Richard.
I'll keep digging this end. Is there anyone you could talk to there? Maybe put some pressure on?
This isn't Woodward and Bernstein. I'm not on your team.
So what are we talking about?
I work for this company. I don't know. I just get this sense of a clock winding down, of time going too fast for any of us.
Maybe you better find out where your loyalties lie, Sarah.
Morning, Sarah.
I don't think you should be in here.
Hey.
I don't want you in here.
Hi, Sarah. Look, about yesterday.
What about yesterday?
It was just a big misunderstanding.
You had to be on the station. You couldn't have known what train I'd get on. What the hell is that about?
I was just doing what I was asked. This isn't some kind of...
What? Conspiracy? Who asked?
Look, it doesn't matter. Can we just forget it?
No.
Ah.
You don't work in this department anymore, Tim. Please clear up your desk and go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Project.
Oh, hi. I wonder if you could ask Patrick McCall to come over to PR this afternoon, 5-ish. A few things we need to sort out on the Mozambique project.
Will do.
Great, thanks.
You wanted a word about the Africa job?
Hi, yeah. Sit down. Can I get you any coffee?
I drink too much coffee. You know how it is.
Okay, I'll get right down to it. If I don't find out exactly what Phil R. was doing in Uzbekistan in the next 5 minutes, I will make sure this goes public. In which case, I doubt that you'll still have a job.
Are you totally stupid, Miss East?
I don't think so, Mr. McCall.
Then exactly which team are you playing for? Them or us? Do you want to see a video of Phil getting his head cut off or something? Is that it? You want to go round and see Carol and say, I sorted it out, you don't have to worry anymore? Is that it? Isn't this whole thing about keeping the cap on, not taking it off? It's hard enough as it is trying to do this. Have you got any idea how many people we have on the ground out there trying to find...
Trying to find what? Phil? Don't you have any idea where he is?
We are doing everything we can at this time to resolve what is, under any circumstances, a difficult and trying situation.
Don't give me my own press release.
It's a very good press release, in the circumstances. Now, you'll have to excuse me. Good night, Miss East.
I'm not finished.
Actually, I think that's exactly what you are.
Screw you.
Yeah, Sarah. Oh, right.
Are you awake now?
Yeah, sure. Go on.
Well, I've been going back through the prelim material for our East Europe-Asia contracts.
Right.
The financial records seem to be the only ones still available, and it looks like the job prices are way too high for what they should be.
You're sure about this?
No, obviously not. I'm not financial. I couldn't cost a contract. But I've been comparing like with like, and it seems to me that whatever Reese was doing wasn't... Hello? Richard? Hello? Is that security? Jimmy? Are you there? Hello? Hello? Richard, where did you go?
Oh, hello, Sarah. This is Kevin Herrenvolk. I wondered if...
May I walk you to the lift, Sarah?
What is this, the ghost train? No, you can't. I can let myself out.
I'm afraid I must insist, Sarah. Company policy when an employee has been involved in theft.
What are you talking about?
I'm afraid it's not working. You'll need the key. It's not spooks, Sarah.
Miss East will do quite well. Were you listening to my calls?
Door opening. Lift going up.
After you. Tampering with computers, taking financial information from another department.
Am I being sacked or what?
Mr. Carpenter has a great regard for your work, Ms. East.
Is Tim working for you?
I thought he was working for you.
Do you ever answer a question?
What do you want?
I want to go home. I want to get out of this place. You can't hold me here, you know. This isn't South Africa.
Neither South Africa anymore. You can go, of course you can go. I'll escort you down to the front entrance. Or you could go up to the top floor and have your questions answered. We're not going to truss you up and throw you off the building, Ms. East. This is real life. Your choice.
Is Gray up there?
Is there anyone else who could answer your questions?
All right.
Doors closing.
You know, my father spent time on Robben Island. Not as a warder, as a prisoner. He was a member of the ANC. Strange world, Miss East, eh?
7th floor. Doors opening.
Hi, Sarah. Come on through.
Patrick. Well, why isn't that a surprise?
Sarah, I'm sorry it had to... Well, you wouldn't listen.
Go to hell, Patrick.
Looks like none of us got a lot of sleep tonight. We're all a bit snappy. Should we try and cool it? Hardly worth going home now. Coffee? You don't really have to make like Dark Phoenix, you know, Sarah. Because I'm not crying doesn't mean I don't take it seriously.
Is this stuff really... Are you really mixed up in this stuff?
Everybody is nowadays, haven't you noticed?
I've noticed what I've been told, Gray, and it isn't very much. Thank you, Patrick.
Miss East has been very assiduous in finding out things for herself.
And I don't blame you. Maybe we should have included you in from the start.
Well, it might have been easier.
Or not.
More honest, then. What was Phil Reese doing?
Patrick.
He was installing a surveillance system for the Uzbeks. Software mostly. Listening in, identifying sources and destinations. Your friend got that more or less right.
You were spying on us?
No, though we did rather clumsily try to warn you, which I grant was stupid.
Well, then how did you know?
There are people who monitor these things, of course there are.
Which people?
Your government, Miss East.
You said Richard got that right. And there's more that he doesn't know?
Always more.
Sometimes agencies need somewhere secure where they can store things. Keep things they might not want in their own house. Information gained by less than reputable means.
Torture?
It makes sense to have an offshore domain, a neutral area where we can store material and consult it without being compromised.
That's what he was doing. His wife was right. For the government.
Last week we were informed by the authorities on the spot that our engineer, Philip Reese, had died in a road accident.
But you told me...
I don't think so.
You implied he was alive.
His laptop went missing. At least we didn't have it.
If it had fallen into the wrong hands, if the ciphers had been broken, it could have been embarrassing to us and to the client. It could have jeopardized the Mozambique project.
Well, if that's the case, maybe we shouldn't have been doing what we were doing.
Maybe not, Sarah. Maybe none of us particularly like it. Maybe none of us have a choice anymore. We had to be sure the laptop hadn't been compromised. There was material on it that a lot of people really did not want to be seen.
And Phil Reese? What about him? Did he know what he was doing? What it might mean? Did his wife?
Technology isn't neutral, Sarah. We have to accept that.
Oh, come on. The man was an engineer, not a bloody spy. He wasn't trained. He thought the government would look after him.
There's a war going on out there, hadn't you noticed? And we have to take sides.
Well, maybe we're on different sides. Because I don't think lying to a woman, telling her that her husband is still alive when you know...
We don't know anything, Miss East, except that the body of Phil Reese and his possessions, including his laptop, were handed over to our representatives last night, actually this morning at 0:55 hours our time, with the sympathy of whoever was holding him or his body while they worked on him or his laptop.
You mean he might have been alive for the last 3 days and only died...
It's a lot easier to open a human being than an encrypted laptop.
They can't. They tortured him. He's just a man, an engineer. He's got a cottage in Devon. He lives in Reading. For God's sake!
That's what we've been living with.
As far as we know, the laptop is uncompromised.
Is that what matters here? The bloody computer?
We must have an influence in those parts of the world. East Europe, Asia, Africa. If we don't, we're finished.
Maybe we should be finished.
You don't really believe that, do you? You ought to be on the main board, yes?
I did, but not if it means...
Did you think you'd get there without ever having to do anything discreditable? Did you think you'd sit on it and make decisions about people's lives and jobs without ever hurting anyone? Is that what you thought? That you could fight a war without taking any casualties? Look. Come here. Down there. Company car park.
Are you showing me the world, Gray, and telling me it's all mine if only I agreed to get down on my knees and kiss...
I'm showing you people arriving for work. Few dozen so far, early birds. Later there'll be a couple of thousand. And in the town there are the businesses that depend on us, on them, buying their groceries, their clothes, their kids' toys. I will be very clear about this. The company is overextended. We've big loans. We're okay, we're growing, but if we don't get the Mozambique contract and expand into Africa, we'll go down. If this story blows up and we are made to look like some kind of evil spy company, we'll go down. Think about the publicity. Some poor guy being tortured, nobody does anything, he dies. Think who our real employers are on this job. Do you think we'd ever get another government contract? If this comes out, the company will go down. Our employees will go down. Carol Reese's compensation payments and pension will go down.
And the truth about her husband's life and death?
Which is going to be easier for her to live with, Sarah? A traffic accident, or whatever the truth might be?
And I'm supposed to lie? To say what? That he was tortured and we don't care? Or he wasn't tortured and we don't care? Or we don't know if he was or wasn't, but we don't care anyway?
You know exactly what we need to say. That's why you're here. You're good at your job.
So why don't you go and do it, Miss East?
You're supposed to make Mrs. Reese feel a little bit better about something intolerable. You're supposed to tell people how the company feels, how we're still committed to making things better for people, how we're bringing ICT to Africa for the good of the whole continent. You're supposed to schmooze the politicians and journalists. You're supposed to do your job.
And if I don't? If I break the real story?
If you do, Sarah, there's not a damn thing we can do about it. Go ahead. The choice is yours. Phil Reese really was involved in a traffic accident and taken to hospital on Sunday night. Once there, he was interviewed by certain elements of Uzbek state security. The interviews were vigorous. He died on Wednesday night at 17:30 before he was able to reveal the ciphers to the information contained on his laptop. His body and the laptop were handed over to...
civilian contractors.
Yes, at the time we specified. That is the truth. I tried to protect you before. I thought it would make your job easier. I thought it would make your conscience easier. I was wrong. You should have been told. Thank you.
I'll walk you to the lift.
I can find my own way.
Welcome to the big table, Miss East.
Doors opening. Lift going down.
Go and write your press release. Whichever way you want it.
Doors closing.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Ian. Hi, Sarah East. We need to talk. Look, I can't get out there yet. I've got stuff I need to do here, but I just wanted to check that you're okay, that everything is happening the way it should. It's important we make this work. There's going to be a lot of interest in this project, and it could be good for both of us.
Last Call was written by Mike Walker, Sarah was played by Su Lin Looi, Tim by Oliver J Hembrough, and Gray by Patrick Bridgman. Lisa Coleman played Carol Reese, and Mark Meadows was Richard Gordon. Patrick was played by Robert Gwilym, and Paul Humpoletz was Kevin Herrenvolk. The play was directed in Bristol by Mary Ward Lowery and produced in association with the Open University. You can find a link to the OU, where issues raised by the play are explored, on the BBC Radio 4 website. Coming next, in Gardener's Question Time, whiskey, meths and cotton buds.
BBC Radio 4, the news at 3 o'clock. A report into a convicted sex attacker who killed a woman 9 months after he was released says he should never have been let out of jail. Anthony Rice killed Naomi Bryant while he was out on licence. The report by the Chief Inspector of Probation found a catalogue of failings at every level. Harry Fletcher from the National Association of Probation Officers agreed with the findings, and he said the probation service wasn't equipped to monitor dangerous people.
We're not a 24-hour surveillance agency. And I think the message for the Home Secretary is that if he wants to prevent serious crimes like this happening again, and I'm sure he does, then either people who are deemed dangerous have to stay inside, or the police are given resources to monitor them 24 hours a day if they're let out, and there has to be a huge increase in probation resources, particularly hostels, where we can put them.
Health officials in Scotland say a fourth child is seriously ill in hospital following a suspected outbreak of E. coli in Fife. All 4 children attended the same nursery in Dunfermline. The Conservative leader David Cameron has told Tony Blair he should go and go soon because the government is paralysed by speculation about when he'll hand over to a successor. Responding during Prime Minister's questions in the Commons, Mr Blair accused the Tory leader of having nothing to say on issues of policy. Scotland Yard say they will not be carrying out a criminal investigation into claims about the Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott. They were responding to allegations